On Friday, July 17, 1981, between 1,500 and 2,000 people were dancing inside the atrium of the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Kansas City, Missouri. It was a tea dance, a Friday night event the hotel had been hosting since it opened just 13 months earlier. Big band music, crystal chandeliers, a 5-story glass atrium. 40 feet above the dance floor hung 2 suspended walkways, skywalks. The 4th floor walkway hung directly above the 2nd floor walkway. Both were crowded with hotel guests watching the dancers below. At 7:05 p.m., the rod connections holding the 4th floor walkway to the ceiling failed simultaneously. 64,000 pounds of concrete and steel dropped onto the 2nd floor walkway. The 2nd floor walkway, in turn, collapsed onto the people dancing on the ground floor. 114 people died. 216 were injured. It remained the deadliest structural failure in American history for exactly 20 years and 1 month, until the World Trade Center fell on September 11, 2001. And it did not happen because of an earthquake or a bomb or a hurricane. It happened because 2 structural engineers approved a change to their own design over the phone and never did the math a second time. The Hyatt Regency Kansas City opened on July 1, 1980. Centerpiece of Crown Center, a $500 million redevelopment funded by Hallmark cards, 40 floors, a 5-story atrium with a glass roof. Inside that atrium, 3 suspended walkways at the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floors crossed from one side of the hotel to the other. They were among the first hotel skywalks in the world. The structural engineering firm was GCE International of Kansas City. The principal in charge was Jack D. Gillum. His project engineer was Daniel M. Duncan. The steel fabricator was Haven Steel Company. None of them in the summer of 1979 paid any attention to a small change to a connection detail. A change that would, 23 months later, kill 114 people. In the original design, the suspension of the walkways was an unusual but elegant solution. A single continuous threaded steel rod would hang from the atrium ceiling, pass through the 4th floor walkway, and continue down to the 2nd floor walkway directly below it. At each walkway, a nut threaded onto the rod sat against a steel washer, which sat against a horizontal box beam. The weight of each walkway hung from those nuts. Critically, and this is the entire engineering story of the disaster, in the original design, the 4th floor walkway hung from one set of nuts, and the 2nd floor walkway hung from a second set of nuts further down on the same continuous rod. That meant each connection only carried the weight of one walkway. The factor of safety was already marginal. The National Bureau of Standards later calculated it at 1.65. The American Institute of Steel Construction Code required a factor of safety of 2. The original design was already in violation of code, but the failure was not the original design. In the summer of 1979, Haven Steel raised a practical objection. To install a single continuous rod, a worker would need to thread the entire box beam onto the rod, sliding it along 16 feet of threaded steel. This is extraordinarily difficult on a construction site. The threads would also be vulnerable to damage during installation. Havens proposed a change. Instead of a single continuous rod, they would use 2 separate rods. The upper rod would run from the ceiling to the 4th floor walkway, terminating in a nut underneath the 4th floor box beam. A second, separate rod would hang from the 4th floor walkway down to the 2nd floor walkway. It is the kind of change that gets proposed on construction sites every single day. Practical, reasonable, cheaper to install. But it had a consequence that no one on the phone call appears to have thought through. In the modified design, the connection at the 4th floor walkway now had to hold 2 walkways instead of 1. The weight of the 2nd floor walkway, plus everything on it, now hung from the 4th floor connection, as well as the weight of the 4th floor walkway itself. The load on that single connection doubled. The change was approved by telephone. By whom exactly became the central question of the trial that followed. Haven Steel said they spoke to Daniel Duncan. Duncan and Gillum both denied recalling the conversation. The Haven shop drawings showing the modification were stamped, approved, by GCE International. The stamp was found in the project files. No one recalculated the load on the connection. No one ran a single piece of arithmetic before, during, or after the change. The factor of safety, which had been a non-code compliant 1.65 in the original design, dropped to approximately 0.6 in the modified design. That is to say, the connection was designed to fail at the load it would be asked to carry. It carried that load for 13 months. Then it didn't. A warning came. Almost no one heard it. During construction in October 1979, a worker felt the walkways move and reported it. A GCE engineer was sent. The verdict: the swaying was normal, within design. No action required. An industrial engineer who attended the hotel's grand opening would later testify that he had walked across the fourth-floor walkway and felt it deflect noticeably under his weight. He thought it felt unsafe. He did not report it. These are the warnings that are easy to see in hindsight. In real time, they are background noise. The system is working until it isn't. The tea dance had begun at 6 p.m. By 7, the band had been playing for an hour. The dance floor was packed. 40 to 50 people stood on the fourth-floor walkway. Another 40 to 50 stood on the second-floor walkway, directly below it. The total dead load on each walkway was approximately 64,000 pounds. The live load on the people added another 20,000. The connection at the fourth-floor walkway, designed to fail at less than that combined load, finally yielded. The failure occurred on the east end of the fourth-floor walkway. The rod pulled through the box beam, ripping the steel like cardboard. The east end dropped first. The west end held briefly, swinging the walkway downward like a pendulum until the west end also tore free. 64,000 pounds of steel and concrete fell 40 feet and impacted the second-floor walkway directly below it. The combined weight then continued downward and impacted the people on the dance floor. Witnesses described the sound as a clap of thunder, followed by a sustained roar that lasted 4 or 5 seconds, followed by complete silence, then screaming. The sprinklers did not activate. The structure that activated them had been destroyed. A water main was severed in the collapse. Within 20 minutes, the atrium floor was under 4 to 6 inches of standing water, in which the survivors and the dead lay together. The full rescue took 14 hours. By the time fire crews reached the bottom of the pile, the lowest trapped victims had developed crush syndrome, in which the release of pressure causes the muscles to release toxins that stop the heart. Several survivors of the initial impact died during the rescue, in the act of being freed. In the weeks that followed, the Kansas City Star paid a local structural engineer, Wayne Lischka, out of pocket to analyze the connection details. Lischka spent 3 nights running the numbers. He came back with a single sentence: the connection that failed could never have supported the load it was carrying. The Star published the analysis on November 22, 1981. 3 days later, the National Bureau of Standards confirmed it. The original design had a factor of safety of 1.65. The modified design, the one that had been built, had a factor of safety of 0.6. The Kansas City Star won the Pulitzer Prize for the investigation. In 1986, the Missouri Board for Architects and Professional Engineers revoked the licenses of both Jack D. Gillum and Daniel M. Duncan. The board found them guilty of gross negligence, that they had sealed shop drawings without performing the calculations that the seal certified they had performed. Gillum never practiced structural engineering again. He spent the rest of his career, until his death in 2012, lecturing at universities, speaking openly to engineering students about what had happened. He repeated the same sentence in dozens of interviews. "I sealed drawings I did not check. There is no other defense." The civil lawsuits cost the developer and its insurers approximately $140 million. No criminal charges were ever filed. Killing 114 people through professional negligence is not in Missouri a crime. It is a licensing violation. The Hyatt Regency collapse changed the structural engineering profession more than any other event in 20th century American construction. The American Society of Civil Engineers introduced a mandatory ethics module to its certification curriculum within 18 months. The opening line of the ASCE Code of Ethics, "Engineers shall hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public," was rewritten in 1983 to encode the responsibilities the Hyatt engineers had failed. Today, every accredited civil engineering program in America teaches the Hyatt collapse. It is the case study that every American structural engineer carries forward for the rest of their working life. The lesson is not do the maths. Every engineer knows to do the maths. The lesson is check the change. When a fabricator proposes a modification to your design on the phone because it is cheaper or easier to build, you do not stamp the drawing without running the numbers again. You do not say it is probably fine. You do not assume the change is small. You do the calculation again from the start every time. Because the connection that holds the dance floor above the dance floor will hold for as long as it can. It will hold for 13 months. It will hold on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And on Friday at 7:05 p.m., the connection that did not hold will not give the slightest warning before it fails. The Hyatt Regency Kansas City is still open, under a different brand. The atrium is still there. The skywalks were never replaced. If you stand on the ground floor today, in the spot where the dancers were dancing on July 17, 1981, and look up, there is open air. There is a small bronze memorial plaque in the lobby. It lists the names of the 114 victims. There is no plaque mentioning the engineering, no plaque mentioning the phone call, or the calculation that was never performed. The lesson lives somewhere else, in every structural engineering classroom in America, in the muscle memory of every engineer asked to approve a change, in the field on a Tuesday afternoon, with no time to recalculate. The lesson is to do the calculation anyway. If this is the kind of story you came here for, subscribe. More files are on the way.